following video may contain swearing, disturbing images, and any other fucked up things that I feel necessary for the video. And as I do talk about and go over what happens in the latest issues of comics, I will probably spoil a lot of things, so be warned. Well, what's up friends, what's up family, it's me, Trent, and today we're talking about the first issue of Big Man Plans. First off, if you did not read the warning in the beginning of the video, there will be swearing and some depictions of unsightly images, as well as spoilers. That being said, let's fucking do this. I'll first start off with a brief history of how this comic was conceived in the first place. The two writers of this comic, Eric Powell and Tim Wiesch, started texting each other with ideas of what they would do if they had fuck you money. At the end of the text, they started using the hashtag BigManPlans. They then started coming up with a situation that the fictitious text character Big Man would be in. And one night, Eric Powell suggested to Tim that they make a comic out of the Big Man. On September 4th, 2012 at exactly 8:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Big Man Plans was underway. Now that we got that out of the way, we can focus on issue 1 itself. Now, from the cover alone, you know that you are in for a ride. Just from the way that painted up little Rage Machine holds that machete and grimaces at you is enough for plenty of nightmare fuel. The first issue is mainly the setup of the main character, Big Man. He goes through his troubled past starting at his father's death. His dad loved the Big Man like any man would love his son. They worked the farm together, feeding animals with the Big Man's little sister. He even says that his dad was the only person who called him Big Man without any venom to it. Big Man's mother, on the other hand, is not as loving. She, in layman's terms, was a snooty bitch. She judged people by the money and how they looked. She left the family without any notice or destination, and the father didn't take it too well. Big Man's father became somewhat of a drunk, and one night he tripped over in the barn while holding a lantern, which both burned the barn down and killed the poor dude. After all was said and done and the smoke cleared from the funeral, Big Man and his sister were split up and put into two different homes. His sister luckily was young, pretty, and easily adoptable. Big Man, on the other hand, was a teenage dwarf and was sent to an orphanage, where he spent the rest of his youth getting the shit kicked out of him. After he was old enough to leave that hellhole, he immediately tried jumping into another one. He went straight to the Army Recruitment Center to try to join in the fun that was Vietnam. He was pretty much told to fuck off and was sent packing. While on his way out, he was approached by a mysterious man who told our little hero that they had a special program for people of a certain stature. They needed people to run through the tunnels that the Viet Cong were hiding in and go on a killing spree. If you have never heard of this branch, it is because they were completely off the books. He agrees almost immediately and goes through the most grueling training with two other men. One dies during the training and the other one is separated from him when they are deployed. This training is what drives what humanity he had left out of him. While over in Nam, they refer to him as Dog among other titles and barely see him as a human. While on Earth, he is nothing. But while in the Earth, in those tunnels, he was everything. Although he was treated like shit, he didn't care, because at least he felt like he had a purpose. But unfortunately, they gave him the boot. After the war, Big Man spends most of his time drinking, fighting, and fucking. Which, funny enough, all three of those things are involved in how he got sent to jail. One night while orally pleasuring some foxy mama in the back of a car, her boyfriend opens the door and pulls our little lover boy out. When you've had a half a bottle of Jack and your dick is hanging out, it ain't easy to get pissed off of being challenged to a fight. Big Man don't take that shit. Why would he? He is Big Man. With his willy in the wind, he uses a tire iron and beats the fuck out of that little poser bitch. After this, he is sent to prison, and to be honest though, it wasn't long before he was going there anyways. They even mention this in the book. As soon as he gets to prison, he is approached by a skinhead. Now, this skinhead thought he was all hot shit and decided he should threaten Big Man for having a little fun with an African American woman. Big Man doesn't stand for racism though. What a valiant hero. He takes his fork, breaks a tip, and stabs it right in that sons of bitch's throat. He was later released from prison early because people thought it was unfair that a person of his size would have to defend for himself. After prison, he decides to clean up his shit. That is until he receives a mysterious letter. Whatever was in that letter set him off big time, and he ends up going back to his hometown in Tennessee. The end of the issue sees him picking up a hammer while a woman stands there shocked that he is back. We don't know who she is, but I'm guessing shit is about to hit the fan even harder than it already was. Why I love this comic. Even though Big Man Plans is dark, gritty, bloody, and fucked up, the way it is put together and the way that the story is told makes you root for that fucked up little psychopath pipsqueak. He is one hard motherfucker who has no second thoughts about killing anyone. But at the same time, you know that what he is was crafted and molded by society itself. He's a monster, sure, but he is society's monster. Another great thing about this story is that it is an underdog story at its core. You have a poor soul who all his life is trying to be accepted until one day he found out that he didn't have to be. He also realizes that if you want to do something, you can do it. It just depends how far you're willing to go. He just happens to go as far as killing, maiming, and being a total fucking maniac. But I honestly don't think this comic would work if he wasn't like this. Well, that's the comic so far, and as always, to become a friend, just like the video, and to become family, subscribe. Until next issue.